What's good with the YouTube? You already know. Real Talk with Flacco. This is Flacco himself coming live and direct. And on this platform, what do? I dive into sensitive issues, delicate matters concerning prison, gangs, community, recidivism, as well as addiction. And as you can tell by the thumbnail and title, we're going to talk about a particular situation that just happened and how this has been going on in the prison system over the last few years. An individual in George Baily Detention Center, which is out there in San Diego, 25 years old, Omar Ornelas, was found dead just the other day. Another inmate was found passed out unconscious. They were able to revive him. They use this thing what you call the narco, which is where they hit him real quick and it brings them back if they're suffering an overdose. He was able to survive. Okay. Now, see, he'd been in there for about 4 years, since 2018, initially on a probation charge, and committing an offense on behalf of a gang. The district attorney further put murder charges and other gang enhancements and so forth on this individual. And so this is what's been going on in prison lately, man, and the county jails, is this fentanyl addiction that you're seeing on the streets. People are starting to bring those pills in with them into the county jails, into the prisons. And it's because it's a lot more, the pills are really small, man. These Percocets, they're counterfeit Percocets, M30s. And they're made with fentanyl and so forth, food dye. And there's a whole long other process of how they go about making these, but they can be made for cheap and sold for cheap. And they're easy to conceal. You know what I'm saying? You come into a county jail, you don't need a big old clavo to get someone high. Just these little pills are going to get someone high. They can't even take a whole pill without the risk of overdosing. And see, I've had two friends who passed away in like the last 6-7 years. And what happens is your body gets away from that addiction, right? You grew this addiction to a certain peak, and you think that you can still maintain going at the same level of high. People end up taking it, they end up overdosing. Some people die. When you're away from a drug for a long period of time, you always run the risk of overdosing if you decide to indulge. You know what I mean? One homeboy, I had just dropped him off, man. You know what I'm saying? An hour later, I get a call from his lady that he overdosed and died. Another homeboy, he was just barely out, man, seeing his newborn son. He decided to fix one night. He passed away. And see, this isn't just happening in like George Baily Detention Center. Salinas Valley, you had a spike increase in overdoses from March 19th to March 29th, all throughout the system, and other states as well. I guess a bad batch came through, and there was a lot of overdoses that were going on, even out there in the streets, but even more so in the county jails, in prison. The Salinas Valley shut down and were on lockdown pending searches. They were searching, trying to find who had the esclavo, who had the dope in there, and doing their own investigation because they had an increase of overdoses there. And so this has been a common trend, man. Fresno County, about 2 months ago, 6 inmates were rushed to the hospital. Same scenario, fentanyl overdoses. So this is the new risk that you're seeing, is individuals getting incarcerated, coming off the streets, bringing those pills, and those that are behind the walls, man, or in the county jail, there's some people who still have those dope fiend antics regardless if they're in there clean and sober. As soon as they find out someone has a clavo, there's those that are like this, hey, I want some, man. How many soap pots and so forth. It happens. But they don't realize the risk that they put themselves in. And this fentanyl stuff, it's no joke, man. I've been out to different areas in California, Arizona, New Mexico. It's crazy, man. I've never seen anything like it, man. It's like a zombie apocalypse everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you go out to Phoenix, you'll see it out there. 51st McDowell and all that. Crazy as hell what you see out there. But these addictions are being brought into these prison facilities because they're cheap to get, really cheap, right? And you probably can sell them for a lot in prison. One pill is probably going to go in prison for like 20 to 30 bucks easily, maybe even 40 bucks for one pill. You know what I'm saying? You get them out there in the streets. If you got the right plug, you're going to get them anywhere from $1 to $3 if you're in the right area. And so, this is what's occurring in the prison system, the county jail, man, is that some people can't leave their addiction issues. You know what I mean? And the more this keeps on transpiring, you're going to continue to see more overdoses because, like I said, man, you get pulled over by the Hudas, you got your bundle, it's easy to secure. We've all been there. We've all done that. I don't know how many times I brought an clavo into the county jail. Anybody that's been around me will tell you, I was coming with that fat sack. There's a lot of individuals that are doing the same thing. And all it's going to do is risk other individuals' lives because They don't realize that, man, they can't get high like they once did. They may not have access to a lighter or foil to, go smoke their fucking pill. They may decide to, swallow it. They're risking their whole life just by doing that, man. You know, I don't know how the prison and county jail administration is going to be able to change this, but it is a problem that they need to be aware of. You know, anybody coming off the streets, they run that risk. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful. We don't need to see more people dying just because they have dope fiend mentalities, man. My only suggestion to county jails is anybody coming off the streets, they may have to put them into a certain section for a while. You know what I'm saying? That would be the only solution there. As far as prison, man, you can't control it, man. There's no one way that collateral is coming behind the walls. It's coming through numerous outlets. If they could stop the flow of drugs in prison, they would have did it a long time ago. It's not going to stop. But if you're out there, man, and you're listening to this video, because a lot of prisoners do, man, think twice, man. Because these pills, nowadays, they're no joke, man. They got a hold of people like I've never seen before. The Baily that you get from coming down off it is worse than even a heroin addiction. It's 90% stronger than morphine. So what do you think is going to happen if you haven't been using any type of drugs and you decide to use it? You're going to pass away, plain and simple. There's nothing more to it, And I think we need to bring more awareness. You know what I'm saying? This drug is the most dangerous drug that I've seen in years. It's worse than the crack epidemic. It's worse than these oxycons that they had at first for a minute. It's just that bad. You know what I mean? And these companies know exactly what's going on, man. They created a lot of these pills out there and pretty much got people addicted. As soon as these kids couldn't, get their prescriptions, they moved on to tar, right? People started using tar. They couldn't get as high as they wanted to when they smoked it. What did they start doing? They started slamming it. Now this new stuff called the fentanyl, the blues they call them, comes around. Now they can smoke it. They don't have to slam it. They're cheap. You know what I'm saying? And so they continue their addiction. I don't know how to really fix this problem though, man. I think all we're going to continue to see left and right are going to be overdoses, deaths, overdoses, and so forth, man. Just alone in this situation, you got 2 people. You know what I mean? And they've had 7 deaths there this year. One of them was a medical condition. The dude had a blood clot, but I think all the other ones were due to fentanyl addictions, overdoses. And each person had been in there for a long time. And it's the same story. They decided to get high, decided to use, and they die. So know this: if you're behind the walls and you've been clean for a while, know the risk that you have even indulging. I get the people who are coming off the streets with their little bundle. They want to maintain their high because they don't want to go Baily. I get that. But if you're passing a pill into someone who's never done it or has been away from it for a minute, know the risk that you're putting that person into. Because just as easy, you bringing that pill in there and giving it to someone and he dies, you can be charged with murder. You know what I mean? Those are facts. Look what happened in the Mac Miller situation. The dude that ended up plugging him with a pill got charged with murder. It's a dangerous game, man. And these pills, like, I can't stress it enough, man. I've been out there in the trenches. I've interviewed people. I've talked to people. It's no joke, man. It got a hold of people like nothing I've ever seen before. Nothing I've ever seen. And it's starting to migrate to other areas. Now you got them out there in the Bay Area now. You got them out there in Oregon, Washington. And when people are high under the influence of this, they don't care about nobody. You got the predators that are using them to get the females. You got dudes that are out there just willing to rob you for everything that you got while you're in your sleep. You know what I'm saying? It's the lowest level of dope fiend moves I've ever seen in my life from the stories that I hear. And when I go in these areas where people are high on it, man, it's a trip because no one has like a long backpack and carts and tents or nothing. They're finding a bus stop or an abandoned store and they're falling asleep right there in front of the store, nodded out. You know what I mean? You walk along the streets in these areas, when you see someone on the floor, you don't know if they're suffering from an overdose, dead, or if they're just fucking high, or they're asleep and tired. It's that fucking crazy, man. I shouldn't even be laughing about it, man. Definitely, this country needs to pay attention to this. We need more people to advocate that this fentanyl epidemic is really destroying our country. One thing is the other substances, which aren't good in our communities, but they're not bringing forth what we're seeing with this, which is death after death. And you got people over there that are in these across the border who are getting all that fentanyl from China and the other countries over there, and they don't always have the best chemist. I've seen pictures of like 4 different fentanyl pills where they're just trying to get the color right. You know what I'm saying? And they say that, I think this is the estimate. I think 2 out of every 5 pills is lethal because they're not manufactured right. Now, those are statistics by a certain survey that was conducted. I'm not going to put no factual claim, but it makes sense. You know, so you never know what you're putting in your body, man. Anyways, this is just a real quick spill, something to put out there, man. You know, it's the end of the month. We got to push hard. I'm going to try to tap into the live in a little bit, as well as I plan to probably drop something on Convict's Perspective within the hour. All right, it's your boy Flacco. Real talk. I'm out, man. Think about this, man. Talk to your kids out there. Talk to your homies out there. Your loved ones that are locked up. Tell them the risk of what's going on with this fentanyl. Because people are dying. They're overdosing in the county jails and in prison. It's becoming really, really serious. If you care about them, you're going to put this in there. I'm out.